Welcome back to the second episode of the Patriots Press Podcast. I am your moderator and co-host, Greg Johnson, and I'm joined today by just one of our two other co-hosts, Matt Kardos. Our friend Mike Ashmore is, I believe, currently en route to Texas for some travel ball work, so we will catch up with him later on. But Matt, good to see you, my friend. How are you? How was your holiday weekend?
Doing good, man. Doing good. I actually I caught my first major league game of the year over the weekend. I went to Mets versus Brewers on Thursday night at Citi Field. Saw Anthony Siegler at the ball.
Somerset product.
Yeah, Somerset, former Patriot, another guy making his major league debut this past week. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, it was enjoyable. Got to hit the beach for a day on Saturday. Hit the pool a bunch, so it was a nice, enjoyable weekend for sure.
Yeah, well, let's get in. What's that?
What'd you do?
Well, I was in Somerset on Friday, covered the game for 4th of July. Saturday, I got out for a little hike somewhere near Philly. Nothing too crazy.
Nice.
A little bit more of a low-key weekend for me, but
love that.
But yeah, nice and relaxing, and Somerset will be coming back home. Well, they just played 3 games against Reading. They had a kind of one of these rare split series of playing 3 there and 3 here.
Yeah, it is
last
weird.
weekend, and then this coming week they'll be back home for 6 more starting on Tuesday. So, speaking of what you just said about Anthony Siegler making his debut, former Somerset guy, I think the big news we have to talk about is Cam Schlittler, a recent Somerset player who looks like he's going to be pitching for the Yankees on Wednesday against the Mariners, making his major league debut. That's been all the reports and indications from the weekend. The Yankees haven't officially announced the move yet, I guess, because, they don't technically have to make the move official until Wednesday, and I guess the plan could change, but it seems that either he'll pitch Wednesday or his major league debut is pretty imminent here because the Yankees need the help in the rotation. He's been pitching very well at AAA. I'm a little surprised that he is already going to be in the big leagues. I mean, we had him a little over a month ago, I guess, is when he was promoted from AA to AAA. I certainly thought he would be in AAA this year at some point, and I thought maybe in September when rosters expand, he could have been pitching for the Yankees, but this is a little bit sooner than I expected, and like I said, I think it's partly he's pitching really well, and partly the Yankees just really have a need for another pitcher up there. What are your thoughts on him getting the call here potentially already?
Yeah, I think according to Joel Sherman, I think he was the first guy to kind of run with that report. I think he said Tuesday or Wednesday. It sounds like that's the plan. So you're right. It sounds like that call up is imminent. And I guess it's a little surprising. Like you said, we just saw him in Somerset here not even a few weeks ago, less than a month ago. He was pitching here at the beginning of June, and beginning of July, a month later, he's set to make his major league debut. All the credit to him. I mean, incredible year after the momentum really for him started building last year. He was named the 2024 Yankees Kevin Lawn Award winner as the Yankees minor league pitcher of the year. And I think that really put him on the map and kind of entrenched him as a guy to watch. And he built off that momentum. He built off that great 2024 season that ended in Somerset. And he parlayed that into a great first half here in Somerset. Obviously had nothing left to prove at this level. He dominated AA. He was at the league leader in just about everything you'd want to look at before he got promoted to AAA. And like you said, he shoved in the short time he was up there. And I think it's more of Schlittler's had a great year. He's doing well, but I think it's probably even a little sooner than the Yankees would want to call him into duty. But I think you obviously didn't count on Clark Schmidt now reportedly having to go under the knife and have Tommy John. And having to deal with all these other injuries that they have going on. And at this point, there's just not another 40-man option really there. I mean, the Yankees are going to have to add him there, and there's not a lot of upper-level kind of starting pitching depth that you're going to turn to where maybe you feel great about it for more than a start or two. So you're going to find out what Schlittler looks like here. I think they're going to give him a chance, and I think they're going to leave him in that rotation for a little bit and see how it plays out. I mean, all credit to him. Um, it's just been a kind of a whirlwind, probably 2 years for him, because he's a guy that I think was relatively under the radar when last year started. I don't think he was a guy that was super highly touted.
Mm.
Just kind of built his stock, and he's seen himself ascend up and down these prospects list. Obviously, in entrenching himself as a bona fide top 10 prospect in the organization heading into this year, and he's obviously now going to kind of join that rotation with another homegrown guy like Will Warren, and now Stroman is back in that rotation, and Rodon and Fried. So he's going to get in that mix, and I mean, he's got the metrics and the measurables that you look for. He's a big 6'6" frame. He's got 4 or 5 pitches. I know you talked to him right before he got promoted about the cutter that he's added, and got the high velocity. I mean, he's got everything that you'd want in the makeup. He's got the mindset. He bears down, and he just goes after guys. He doesn't seem like a guy that would really have the lights and the bright lights of New York really get to him. He seems like a guy that would be able to handle it. So I'm super interested to see how this plays out for him in the next couple of days.
Yeah, I believe he is now ranked by Baseball America as the Yankees' top pitching prospect. Like you said, he's 6'6", he's 225. When I spoke to him in late May, he said, yeah, he's put on about 15 pounds of muscle since he got to Somerset last August. I mean, this is a guy who really has developed a lot of velocity since he got to the Yankees. I think, coming out of Northeastern, he pitched there for 3 years in college, and I think he was sitting around like 90, 91, and he's just upticked that velocity where now he's an upper 90s guy. I think he's touched 99. He throws a cutter, curveball, and a sweeper. I think the curveball is where he gets the most miss among his secondary pitches. The cutter is a new pitch that he added in late April. I mean, he was originally throwing so he had 5 pitches before where he was throwing the fastball, curveball, the sweeper, along with a gyro and a splitter. The splitter, unfortunately, the splitter didn't really work out for Cam Schlittler, as you would have hoped. But that was something he added in spring training, I think, to replace his changeup he didn't have a great feel for, and the splitter and the gyro were not really working out too well for him. I think the Yankees looked at it and said he's kind of got this overstuffed arsenal of 5 pitches where he doesn't really have 4 really good ones we feel good about.
Sure.
A member of their analytics team recommended to him to try this cutter, and he's gotten just, it's a really hard cutter. It's got good shape to it. So he's got, 4 really good pitches right now. And like I said, that fastball is in the upper 90s. So, I mean, that's big time stuff. I think he could be, similar to what the Yankees got when Luis Gil came up, and he was rookie of the year last year in the American League. A guy who throws hard and can really be effective as a big league starter. I know, recently some of the guys who've gone up have been a little more disappointing. Will Warren's been up and down. He doesn't throw that hard. Clayton Beater throws hard, but he's really a 2-pitch guy who they were bringing out of the bullpen, and
Sure.
he's had a lot of injuries too. So, but I think Schlittler definitely has promise. I mean, I think fans should temper their expectations. This year in his 15 games between Double A and Triple A, he's got I think a 2.82 ERA, 99 strikeouts, only 26 walks and 76 2/3 innings.
Sure.
I don't think anyone should expect him to go up there and just keep shoving like that. There's going to be some highs and lows, but this guy's 24. He's a mature pitcher with a nice compact delivery, where the Yankees have helped him really generate a lot of power in that. It's a very repeatable delivery. He's really come a long way the last couple of years, and I think he's got a good makeup to go up there and pitch well. But we will see.
I think that's one thing too that you said maybe fans maybe have to temper expectations, and I think that's the difficult part about maybe being a GM or a player development staff in this market, particularly with this team where the expectation is to win every single year. No matter how well these guys are on a track to developing in Double A or Triple A, At some point when they get to the big leagues, they need the runway a little bit to get to prove things and work through some struggles and adjust. And that's kind of the give and take of putting a big pitching prospect or a big prospect in general and thrust them right into the rotation or the starting lineup. The Yankees need him to perform now. And if he struggles, he's going to struggle. It's probably good for him in the long run to kind of get those out of the way. But I think the Yankees are calling him up right now with the intent that they need him to he has to give them something. He's got to show them something. I mean, they're not in first place anymore. They've kind of fallen on hard times here the last couple of weeks, and they've kind of plummeted a little bit in the division. And I think they're looking for a boost, and Schlittler's the next man up. That's just the mentality that every organization goes with. It's funny when you go into spring training every year, you have 6, 7, 8 guys that you think could fill out this rotation. And if you remember at the beginning of camp, it was like, is Stroman even going to have a spot in this rotation? Is he going to go to the bullpen? And it just seems like as the year goes on for every team, all those questions end up answering themselves and things play out how they play out. And now there's not enough depth, and you're having to dig down into your upper levels of your farm system now to fill out rotation spots. You never know what's going to happen in this game. It's so predicated on injury and health. And the Yankees have certainly had their health tested in the first 3 months of the season. And now Schlittler's next man up. And I think he's obviously going to have a learning curve. It's a whole new experience. The big leagues are another animal. And when the bright lights and Yankee Stadium come on, that kind of even amplifies it a little bit more than just a normal debut. So, I'm interested to see how this plays out.
Yeah, one other thing I wanted to bring up in regards to the cutter he added, and I'd written about this, about a month ago after I spoke to him, but he said the reason that the cutter came very naturally to him is that it involves supination, and he's naturally a supinator versus a pronator. And I had looked that up because I didn't even know what that was. I don't know if you've ever heard of this terminology, but apparently, what's that?
I've heard it vaguely, and I've heard him bring it up.
Yeah, it's basically, if people don't know, supination is when your palm is facing up during forearm rotation at release of a pitch, and pronation is when the palm is facing down. So the supination lends itself more to, breaking balls, whereas pronation is more for fastballs and changeups. Obviously, cutter's a little bit of a, so it's sort of a combination of the two. Not quite a full-fledged breaking ball, but the movement on it's a little bit different. And I just thought that was interesting that, he just said he's, naturally is more of a supinator, that sort of movement comes a little more naturally to him in his delivery. So that's what made it an easier pitch to pick up. And I also had asked him about, how he felt about the possibility of, staying in AA for a while, or, if he's itching for another challenge, because at that point he was pitching very well in AA. And he kind of just said, they want to keep me here, I'll keep performing against these hitters. They want to move me up. There'll be a new challenge for me, and I'll face some better hitters. He felt just lucky to even get to experience some of that a little bit in spring training, because this year in spring training was his first time in the big league camp against big league hitters. So things have really accelerated for him quickly. And I actually spoke to Rafael Flores over the weekend on Friday as well about that possibility, because that was, I think, earlier in the day is when Aaron Boone kind of threw out the possibility that he could be, that Cam was certainly in the mix to join the rotation. And so we'll play a couple clips for you here of Rafael talking about Cam. I first asked him about just that possibility and what makes Cam so dominant as a pitcher. Schlittler, I know you caught him recently here. Aaron Boone, I think, said today he's in the mix to maybe join the rotation. He's been pitching really well in AAA. Yep. Clark Schmidt just got hurt. What do you think about the possibility of him pitching in the major leagues soon here?
Oh my God, it's exciting. I caught him in high A, I caught him in double A. I mean, to see him fully develop as a pitcher, especially from our draft class, I mean, he's a stud, and he's definitely matured mentally, and I can just tell he's got the big league mental side of it down already. He's got everything going for him, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's up there here soon.
Yeah, I mean, what's just different about him? Like in terms, like what makes him so dominant?
It's just he's so competitive, and he's really good at moving on. That's a big thing with pitchers. Pitchers sometimes dwell on certain innings and they carry it on to the next innings. Like he's really good at moving on and coming out the next inning with a new plan, and that's just so big for him. I think that's what makes him really good and stand out.
And then later I asked him about the cutter he added and what he thinks of that pitch. Do you think that the cutter that Schlittler added was a really big turning point for him this season?
Huge. Yeah. I think how hard he throws it, the shape of it it's incredible. And I mean, it's a big league pitch, and he's had it for not long. So, I mean, great addition to his arsenal.
So a couple just quick takeaways from those. I mean, in regards to, obviously he's ecstatic that the guy is probably going to pitch in the big leagues. I think, he mentioned that they're in the same draft class. Even though Flores wasn't actually drafted by the Yankees, he was an undrafted free agent. They both entered pro ball. Yeah, they entered pro ball at the same time, same year. And it just shows, these guys really root for each other. And when, when one of them goes up, it I think, inspires them and shows them, hey, this is kind of what we're all working towards, the fruits of your labor, and shows me that this is something I can aspire towards as well. And so there was that aspect to it, and then he just said that basically he Cam is a guy who just has a very good demeanor and doesn't let past mistakes and adversity affect him, which seems like common sense that a pitcher obviously needs to be able to push past mistakes in an outing and come back next inning with maybe tweaking their plan a little bit and just keep going at it. But it's not necessarily easy. These guys are human, and when they're in the minor leagues, any setback can feel detrimental and feel like it's that much more of a mountain to climb to get to the big leagues. But he's a guy that really, really has a good demeanor, and then he also described that cutter being a big league level pitcher already, even though he only just started throwing that in late April. And I think he said he's at that point, and when I talked to him in late May, he said he wanted to uptick the horizontal, moving on a little bit. He's working on some analytics with it. So, this is a pitch that's really good for him. He's been generating a lot of weak contact with it, but he wants to be even better with it. And obviously he's, the guy's 24, just started throwing that pitch. He's got a lot of room for growth. So, but the fact he's already had so much success with that pitch, certainly speaks to, being a really naturally good pitch for him, and just, how talented he is and how hard of a worker he is. So,
yeah, he's definitely got that mindset. He's got that like workman like mentality. I remember even talking to him on media day or after his first start early in the season. He just seemed so committed to being good again, because all the questions were, what is their pressure? Because obviously now eyes are on you after winning the Kevin Lawn Award and having all these accolades and now being on the prospect list.
Mm-hmm.
Can you do it again? Can you come back here? You're back at AA. Can you do what you need to do the first month, 2 months, 2.5 months of the season to get out of AA and go up to the next challenge? And he's just always been calm, cool, collected about the whole thing, and just gone about his business. And he went out there and did what he had to do and got to AAA. And in a blink of an eye now, he's going to the show.
Yeah, he's just another one of these guys that is so fun to talk to as a reporter in the minor leagues, because like a lot of these pitchers are just so willing to be open about their analytics and their grips and what they're working on. And the fact he would just go, tell me about this new pitch and really go in depth with it. It's really cool to get to experience that as a reporter. And he's just another, great young pitcher the Yankees have been developing. And like I said, I think his upside is a little bit higher than some of these other recent guys. But we'll see how he does on Wednesday against Seattle, if that in fact is the case at Yankee Stadium. So I guess we can move on to Rafael Flores. Like I just mentioned, I spoke to him a little bit about Cam and some other pitchers, and also just talked to him about the season he's been having, because he has been in AA for a little over a calendar year now. And I guess the latest news from about a day ago was that the Yankees traded one of their AAA catchers to Baltimore. So now AAA Scranton has only 2 catchers. Somerset has 4. And one of the Somerset catchers, Antonio Gomez, has been on the development list for a few weeks, so he could be activated soon here. We have to find out exactly what the deal is with him. But, it would seem that there is a spot for Rafael to go up to AAA if the Yankees want to do that with him. He's, like we've touched on before, his defense continues to be a work in progress, partly because, he's 6'4". He's described to me about really learning how to use his long levers with some things at catching. But I mean, he's been raking here. I mean, from last year to this year, he's now tied for the Eastern League lead in extra base hits with 37. He's got 23 homers, 14 doubles. I mean, Somerset, I think, would love to keep him here, and they could use his big bat for a playoff push. But I think we've gotten to a point where he has probably conquered AA and could go to AAA here soon, but we'll see what the Yankees decide.
Yeah, I think when we recorded episode 1, we said would probably be surprised if by the time we recorded maybe episode 2 or episode 3 that if Flores was still in AA. And here we're recording this on Monday, July 7th. After that trade of Alex Jackson yesterday, I mean, I don't have any inside info. I don't think you have any inside info, but I mean, there's certainly a dot that you could connect if you wanted to for a potential move to happen. The spot is opened up for him. Whether that actually happens or not, I mean, at this time tomorrow night, we're going to know. If he's in the lineup tomorrow in Somerset, then that was just a product of the Yankees making a completely separate transaction. But if he does indeed move up, and that is the move to get him to AAA, then, I mean, he's more than earned it. Like Greg said, I mean, the guy's leading AA in just about or he's in the top 2 or 3 in almost every top offensive metric you'd want to look at.
Right.
Home runs, tied for the lead in extra base hits, and total bases, and OPS, and just all these stats that you'd want to turn to. I mean, he's there. And the sample size isn't small anymore. It's coming up on a full calendar year now that he's been here. Kind of came up and started playing regularly on the heels of kind of Ben Rice moving out of the picture. And I think he's just proven. Again, we talked about Cam Schlittler being the Kevin Lawn Yankees minor league pitcher of the year, and Flores was the Yankees minor league position player of the year last year. And same kind of story there. I remember asking him early in the season if he felt like there was now pressure and expectations. And I loved at the time asking him that, because he brought up the fact that he was an undrafted free agent. And so he's kind of always had to carry a chip on his shoulder.
As a guy that was relatively under the radar, a guy that people are kind of talking about at this point, do you feel any more added maybe sense of pressure going into a season where you're actually on the map and on the radar and people are watching?
Absolutely not. I think my game has gotten me this far. There's no reason to put any more pressure on myself. There's no reason to kind of think I have to do more. My game has gotten me this far, so I feel like I just got to trust it and keep the same path. You've heard me say chip on my shoulder many times, and I'm just going to keep that the whole way.
I kind of cracked up. I think we touched on it last episode. I brought up the one thing that I've been surprised about, and I think you touched on with him the other day. I'm curious what your kind of takeaways were. But I kind of touched that. I'm surprised how little first base he's played, given where the Yankees are at, almost at the major league level with Austin Wells, and they have obviously Ben Rice, who's capable of catching up there, and obviously JC Escara. They got 3 guys that are kind of locked in on those spots. I was just surprised that maybe they didn't, given where they have, or given what they have at first base in the pipeline coming up. Obviously, they have Goldschmidt, who's an older veteran player, not there for the long term. They don't have a ton at first base in the pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
There is a potential path there to regular playing time, and I'm just surprised his playing time is definitely down at first base this year.
Yeah, when I pointed that out to him, that he's played a lot more at catcher than first base since coming to AA, because when he was at High Hudson Valley, he had pretty much evenly split time between the 2 positions. And I pointed that out to him, and what he said was that, he didn't say the Yankees don't like him as a first baseman, but just that he thinks that with his hitting numbers that they stand out more at catcher. And, he said playing first would be nice in the sense that he'd feel a whole lot better health-wise, because playing catcher is a much more demanding position, but he really loves catching. He's loving learning the position, really developing with the Yankees coaches, who he says are really good at helping out with his defense. He feels like his receiving numbers are up this year. His blocking's been up this year. The caught stealing rate has not really improved yet, but he pointed out too that, that is a team thing as well, where it's like pitchers have to be mixing up their looks and really holding guys on just as much as it is on the catcher to be throwing guys out. But again, he's been really learning how to use his levers and his length, and just still working on some stuff with his transfer and throwing. But Austin Wells was a guy a couple years ago in Somerset, didn't have the greatest caught stealing rate either, and has become a very solid catcher for the Yankees. And I pointed that out to him too, that, look, Austin Wells is there. He's 25 years old. Do you ever sometimes wonder, like, where am I going to fit in and play here? And to his credit, he didn't come back to me with some kind of like politically correct answer of just like, oh, I know, I don't think about that at all. I'm just focused on what I can control. He did say he kind of needs to stay where his feet are and keep working hard and let that take care of itself. But he said, yeah, look, behind closed doors, you think about it, you foresee your future in pinstripes, and, I want to play in the big leagues. Obviously, I think anybody would. I think it's tough because, one, Austin Wells is, the Yankees are going to give him every opportunity to be their long-term catcher. He's a former first-round pick. He's done some good stuff for them up in the big leagues. Had a nice postseason last year. But he hasn't been setting the world on fire with his bat per se either. It's not set in stone. He's the catcher forever. But you do wonder, is Rafael Flores ultimately someone the Yankees view more as a trade chip? But it's just you got to wait and see kind of when the time comes too. When the guy's ready, things could change. A guy could get hurt. A guy could be underperforming. You don't know. And I think that was kind of what Rafael was getting at with me too, is that, he's got to just stay where his feet are, and that stuff will just kind of sort itself out. Like, I won't have to worry about it. But he also entertained the possibility of, like he said, interestingly, that he actually still talks frequently to Jose Trevino, former Yankees catcher, who's now with the Reds, just about, he said Jose's kind of told him, like, just understand that there's a plan for you, and, it may be here, it may not be here, but you keep performing, and you may get an opportunity somewhere else too. So I think these guys understand too that, like, as much as they would love to make it to the big leagues with a team that, with the organization that drafted them or signed them, that they got to keep developing to get an opportunity anywhere, because to make it to the big leagues anywhere would be a huge accomplishment, obviously. And, that's just how it works out for some guys. Depending on organizational depth, it just doesn't work out for everybody to, play with the team that they started with. So,
and the Yankees have done obviously a great job in that, catching area in the last couple of years, and it's just a numbers game, and they've had to move off a lot of those guys to fill other needs. But if you look around the league now, you have Agustin Ramirez batting right in the middle of the lineup for for Miami. He's kind of a linchpin, looks like a cornerstone player for them for a long time in the middle of their lineup. You have Carlos Narvaez, catcher, now batting in the middle of the Red Sox lineup, your division rival. We're able to swing a deal with them. So, I mean, that's two guys right there that are starting every day at the major leagues that were in Somerset at this time a year ago or a year and a half ago. It's if it's not with the Yankees, there is a path elsewhere if it's not going to be with this particular organization. And they do such a good job just developing these guys. And it's not even necessarily catcher. We just talked about Anthony Siegler. I mean, this is a guy that wasn't even playing every day in AA never even got to AAA for the Yankees in all those years with the organization. And now he's a big leaguer in another organization.
Right.
And if you look up and down these rosters, they might not be, top rotation guys or guys batting 3 or 4 in batting orders, but the Yankees have a good track record of producing major league caliber players that kind of stick and play for long periods of time and have successful careers. So if the Yankees could, there's only 40 guys that you could put on this roster every year. And if you produce 50 good ones or 55 good ones every year, that's 10 or 15 that you either parlay into trade chips or you have to move to fill other needs. And the Yankees have done a really good job of that in the last couple of years. That San Diego trade, Randy Vasquez and Michael King has since moved on. Obviously, he was developed as a Yankees guy, but I mean, just guys like that you use as back end trade chips, and maybe you diversify 3 or 4 players into one, and they've done an excellent job of that. And so when you think of Flores, you don't necessarily know what the thinking is, but if it comes up here in a couple of weeks that, hey, this guy's ranking as an everyday catcher, and there's a way that the Yankees could fill one of the many holes that kind of seem to be popping up on a daily basis now with injuries and underperforming players across the major league roster. Yeah. If there's a way that you could fill 2 or 3 of those holes with impact players to help you win now, I'm sure Flores would be thrilled to go somewhere else and play in AAA every day or get a shot at the major league level every day. And the Yankees would in turn fill a hole. So it's a possibility, like you brought up the trade chip aspect. These guys are always going to be trade chips until they make it somewhere. So I remember Brian Cashman when many years ago when you and I were in Trenton. I remember Brian Cashman came down for a press conference when Tyler Austin was actually named the minor league player of the year many moons ago. And he had a quote that always stays with me to this day. He said, "Prospects will always be suspects until they prove otherwise," and that is the case. I mean, they're just kind of unknowns at the major league level, and whether you find out what they are or another team does, but they're just kind of viewed as assets and trade chips until proven otherwise.
Yeah, and the other thing I wanted to mention about Rafael that stuck with me from when I talked to him the other day is, like going back to what you said that he, we talked to him before the season even about like all these accolades he's gotten and how it hasn't really changed him. I mean, I asked him about like, do you feel like all this attention like, does it feel like you have more attention on you because now you're a ranked prospect versus last year it was like he was literally an unknown. I mean, he kind of surged out of nowhere with the bat, was an undrafted guy, and he's like, nothing's changed. I mean, other than he kind of joked to me, and I get more fans asking me for autographs. He actually signed a deal with Topps, the baseball card company this year, I guess. But he said like he reminds himself and even some of his teammates like dude, you get to you literally are getting to play a kid's game for a living. Like, this is just fun. There's no reason to put extra pressure on yourself.
Yeah, it's hard enough.
Yeah. Now I'm sure at times, guys do feel some pressure and it's not quite that simple, but it is a good way to look at it. And he does just strike me as a very chill dude that doesn't get rattled easily. And I think that's a big reason he stayed so consistent from last year to this year. Of like, I mean, if you look at his numbers from last year to this year at the plate, I mean, they're very similar. I mean, he hasn't fallen off or, struggled to prove that last year was, a fluke year or something. I mean, he's continued to rake. And I think now, similar to Spencer Jones, we got to see now what he can do up in AAA. And obviously Spencer's doing really well up there. So
hell of a start for him.
Yeah. I mean, he's just continued to, not to go too much into Spencer Jones today, but I mean, he's just continued to surge. He's already passed his career high in home runs that he set last year. I mean, I give him all the credit in the world, that guy. I mean, 24 years old, that he came back this year and just made adjustments, did what he had to do, and has performed under a lot of pressure, I think, because this was really a make or break year for him, where if he had another rough year, relatively speaking, rough year in AA, I mean, not that, not like he's going to get cut, but I mean, you really would start to question if he's ever going to live up to his first round draft status. And he's still got a ways to go. He hasn't made it to the big leagues yet, but yeah, let's see. I think the Yankees got to see soon here if what Rafael can do in AAA as well. So I guess we can kind of wrap up here with a couple more quick notes. I mean, I think people should know that George Lombard Jr., the Somerset shortstop, will be in the Futures game on Saturday as part of MLB's All-Star Weekend. For people who don't know, the Futures game is where a lot of baseball's top minor league prospects all come together and play an exhibition game. It's a fun experience for the guys. And I looked this up. He's actually this is the first time since 2019 that the Yankees have had only one rep there. They usually send two guys. Spencer Jones and a pitcher were there the last couple years. So George will be the only guy there. So that's a nice opportunity for him to represent the org and to showcase his skills. I'm sure we'll be talking to him at some point afterward to see how that went, because he's a guy who's very young and I don't think we're expecting is going to be going to AAA this year. So, and that's going to be on Saturday. I believe it's at 4 p.m. on MLB Network and streaming online as well on MLB.com. The game's played in Atlanta, where the MLB All-Star game will be next week. So that's a good opportunity for George this weekend. Yeah,
last 2 years have been Spencer Jones, if I remember correctly. And then I think last year was supposed to be Spencer and Selvage, and that timeline corresponded with Selvage's injury.
Brock got hurt, yeah.
And we never saw him again that year. I was waiting to see him pitch, and I thought it was a little suspect that he never got in there to pitch. And then, come to find out after the All-Star break here for Somerset, we found out that he was dealing with an injury that he never came back from last year, and honestly didn't come back from until a couple weeks ago here. So just an awesome event. It really gets to showcase all of the really, really good talent that this game has coming up. Do yourself a favor, watch it, but also go back and look at the rosters of just the game a year ago, 2 years ago. Almost half the rosters of these Futures games end up playing in the major leagues less than a year later. They're just loaded with talent. And I think the cool part is that it's not necessarily dependent on level. Like it's not AAA guys versus AAA guys. You could have a AAA guy pitching to a low A guy, with a guy at first base that's in AA and an outfield of low A outfielders. It's all scattered levels. It's just talent versus talent, showcased on the biggest stage. And I honestly wish that it was in a prime time, slot. I know it's at 4:00 on a Saturday. Sometimes a tough watch for people, doing summer things out here when it's nice out. I wish it was in a more of a desirable time slot on the TV, because it's one thing that I think baseball maybe could do a better job at, is like marketing their future. All these other sports, the NBA. The NFL, they do a good job of like putting their rookies and the prospects or the kind of the talent of tomorrow. They put it at the forefront and really get out in front of it. And I think baseball's getting there. I think they've done a better job, changing the way the draft works. That's more of a public eye. You're able to watch that more readily available than you were a couple of years ago, even. But I think it could still do a lot better, and I think it's going to get there. But it's a start. 4:00. I would recommend everybody tune in and get to see Lombard on the biggest stage that there is right now for him.
Yeah. I think it's that, and then the celebrity game is afterward, which, like you said, I think it would make more sense to have the prospects play in prime time. And I've
covered one of them in the what is this 12 years that I've done this. I did the 2019. Yeah, 2019, which was in Washington D.C. Nationals Park.
Okay.
That was Yankees only had one rep that year. That was Justice Sheffield. So I went down there for Justice Sheffield and covered him. But I think I remember in that game that was Ellie De La Cruz might have been in that game. Pete Alonso was in that game. Vlad Jr. I think was in that game. So all those guys were in the major leagues less than a year later. They're all on second contracts worth $1 billion. Just those two guys in itself, It's just all the talent that you get to see at these things. If you get the chance to ever go, cover it, watch it, whatever, I would highly recommend it. It's a good thing that they do.
Yeah, and it's a great chance for the guys to, I think, even beyond just playing in the game, like just being there amongst other greats, great prospects, and just other guys to interact with at All-Star Weekend. It's a fun time because I think I heard George. I mean, essentially, like he'll go on Friday, I think, and be there till Sunday, be there for the weekend down in Atlanta. So it's really about just a full experience and just soaking it in and appreciating that. So and I think you had a little bit of other news about Somerset.
George is going to be gone. He's going to miss all the action in Somerset this week. I mean, Somerset also coming off a great week, we talked last episode about just team-wise, the Patriots want to come out in the second half and kind of set the tone. Obviously didn't go the best against Erie that first series, but obviously they go 5-1, take 5 out of 6 from Reading last week to move them to 7-5 overall. I think they're only a game out of first place. Not that the standings really matter all that much at this very moment, but you don't want to go, too far in the back of the pack if you're trying to, keep yourself in the mix to get that last playoff spot here in the second half. But yes, fun stuff just in general though going on at the ballpark. Obviously they have Sports Center is coming to town Saturday night. You have the Jersey Diners game on Saturday night. So Sports Center host Ryan Smith is coming out for the 50 states in 50 days segment, and they're going to be filming Sports Center pretty much at the ballpark, filming a bunch of segments and stuff like that with the team and using the whole Diners promo to kind of represent Jersey. So that's going to be fun. And then Sunday you have Spencer Jones bobblehead day to the first 1,000, I believe, adults. So, it's kind of, you thought Jones would maybe still be there for that, and he just missed it. Just missed his own bobblehead doll. So, but yeah, that should be fun. And on the same day, the thing I'm most excited for is Thomas Ian Nicholas is coming out to the ballpark. You might know him as Henry Rowengartner from the movie Rookie of the Year.
Gardenhoser, Rulin Groder. I never doubted him for a minute. Hey, way to go, run amucker. Ron Gardner, you're going in.
What do you call me?
One of my favorites growing up, just a staple of my childhood. I can't really hang out with my childhood friend group without kind of dropping lines and reciting certain scenes word for word when I get together with some of my friends. We all grew up on that movie, so that'll be cool to see Henry Rowengartner out at the ballpark on Sunday. So yeah, a lot of cool summer kind of fun going on if your guys are looking to get out to the ballpark and Go grab a bite to eat, grab some diner food on Saturday, and just get out there and enjoy the summer while it's here.
Yeah. Yeah, let's hope those Spencer Jones bobbleheads will not be on eBay within 10 minutes of fans entering the ballpark, which is sometimes the case.
Yeah, I could only imagine. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of in lore at this point, but generally when Somerset has a bobblehead promo, the people start lining up hours before the game starts and the gates open. But I feel like, in my memory anyway, a lot of the bobbleheads are normally given away during the week. I don't really remember I'm sure it's been done. I don't have like a spreadsheet with the dates and stuff that bobbleheads were given away on, but I gotta imagine a Sunday 1:00 game, that line has the potential to start pretty early because you don't have people running out of work, you don't have school going on, you have a Sunday morning in the summer. People lining up for these things. I could only imagine that there's already some of them listed on before they're even in hand.
Pre-sale, yeah. Who knows? Maybe fans will have tents out on Saturday night.
Yeah, that's great.
But because usually it's on a weeknight where it's 6:30 or 7, and you'll see fans out there even at like 2 or 3 o'clock. I feel like.
Yeah.
So we'll see about this Sunday, but it's a big weekend in Somerset. They'll be hosting New Hampshire Tuesday through Sunday, and like Matt just said, there's a lot going on Saturday and Sunday. So good time to come out to TD Bank. We will be there covering some of the action, and I guess we'll check in a couple weeks or so. As always, you guys can follow and like us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Drop us lines. Let us know what we're doing well, not so well. What things you want to have us discuss. Any questions you want answered. Any potential guests maybe you'd like us to have, because we are hoping to have some guests on at some point, whether it's broadcaster, player, coach, whoever. So feedback is great. So let us know how we're doing. And thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, thank you guys. Talk to you guys soon.